organized businesses, especially in the north, in the southeast, and also part of the west, which has caused some very high level of the industrialization in those areas. And one of the consequences of the industrialization is basically loss of jobs, loss of investment, and because the insecurity becomes too uncontrollable within a context, and you realize that it also impairs the ability of foreign investors to bring their investment into the country, while your local investors will also be losing investment progressively. We have issues arising from forex, organized business, genuine businesses that really want to import inputs and help them to be productive, maximally productive, because of the scarcity of forex, because of the dual, unfortunately, the dual forex that we had until yesterday, because the president yesterday mentioned, while he was giving his speech, he mentioned explicitly that one of the things they want to do is to have just one forex exchange. So forex and availability of inputs were also very important to organized businesses and part of the challenges to face. Now, regulatory consistency and policy somersault also remain a big challenge on the plate of organized businesses. Just at the twilight of the last administration, we had the fiscal policy measures that is a critical or typical example of policy inconsistencies. An agreement was reached that look, this is how the tariffs will be increased progressively between 2022 and 2024, and just one morning like that, less than a year into the 3-year plan, the former Minister for Finance came up and said the government is changing the ball to changing the goalposts at the middle of the game.
That's a policy somersault.
Policy somersault, which are also, it hinders your ability to plan. You're already struggling with the issue of energy. You budgeted at the beginning of the year probably 200, 300 naira per liter of diesel. You really have to power yourself to production. And within a short while, the price of diesel jumped to 700, 800. It creates a lot of disruption for you in how you continue to manage your production, while you are still expected to live up to your obligations to government in the context of tax, obligations to your employees in the context of paying salaries, obligation to the host community in the context of ensuring that you continue with CSR. So it's a multi-dimensional or multi-faceted challenge. But we must commend organized businesses in this environment for the work they are doing and for the resilience they have shown. We can't throw away the baby with the bathwater. The last government tried their best. They responded in some instances to the concerns of organized businesses. But we believe they could or they should have done much more.
Well, you mentioned the inaugural speech of the president. Can you mention some of the things that maybe in that speech is welcome for the business community, or how you think that speech will affect investor commitment in the business community in Nigeria?
The truth of the matter is, all the comments, all the plans, as mentioned, they are quite laudable, and we commend the president for making such definitive comments. You mentioned the issue of the fuel subsidy that is gone. He said it's gone, but as at this morning, I'm not sure it has disappeared, because probably still in that regime. The commodity balls introduction mandated CBN to achieve a unified exchange rate, house cleaning at the CBN, which is overdue, interest rates at business and infrastructure, electricity generation, anti-investment and multiple taxation policies, repatriation of investment and profit to be facilitated. These are key issues that is germane to organized businesses. He also mentioned the issue of insecurity. These are critical issues that he has mentioned. And we appreciate those comments. That shows that he understands the issues. Now, beyond understanding the issues is the framework that will help us or guide us into achieving these issues. It is, I we want to believe strongly that these are not just rhetorics, because anybody could have crafted this and announced it, but we all know the problems. Now, the critical issue is what are the frameworks to drive the achievement of these things that the president has mentioned, and that is where the conversation today becomes very important. Stakeholders engagement.
Okay, so we'll go back to the stakeholders engagement right now. Now, remember that you can join the conversation. It is a conversation. You might have expectations from the business stakeholders, so you can call in and ask your questions or make your observations. The number is 0813 331 3172. 0813 331 3172. So let's talk about, okay, we are going to stakeholders involvement. How do stakeholders, how are they involved? Let's kind of list out some of the things that they should be doing before we go to, are they doing it or are they allowed to do it? What are the things that the stakeholders, who are the stakeholders? Let's start with who are the stakeholders.
First, within the context of this conversation, I think the critical stakeholder that government will need to engage is the organized private sector. And NECA, Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, playing a critical role in that engagement, being the most representative organization of businesses in this environment. Also, being the focus of employers, even at the international community. We represent employers at the International Labour Organization, International Organization of Employers. Even at the UN, we represent Nigerian employers. And the OPS has 5 arms: NECA, then the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. We have NACIMA, that's National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agri. We have NASME, the Nigeria Association of Small Scale Enterprises, and we have NACI, National Association of Small Scale Industrialists. Those 5 of us, those 5 strong institutions constitute what we call the organized private sector of Nigeria. And it will be worthwhile, we hope that the government will not fall into the error of assuming they know it all, or assuming they are speaking to organized businesses while they were probably speaking to 1 or 2 organizations that have formed themselves in the quasi and organized private sector. So there's the institution that we call the organized private sector, and those are the critical institutions that I think government should be speaking with within the context of economic renaissance of our country. Other stakeholders might be the CSOs, the international community, which are also very critical within the context of our engagement. But for the immediate, in resolving our issues, I think the organized public sector remains a big player that the government can partner with and can collaborate. We've done it in the past with success stories for government, and I think they can leverage on that, on building that consensus around the organized public sector, and we help government to drive this process.
I wanted to ask you that how far in previous administrations the engagements, how would you rate the engagements between government and these organized the stakeholders involved in business now? Are you impressed with it, or you want a better communication?
We can give the level of engagement maybe 45%, 40-45% in the context of real engagement. You know, the importance of engagement is such that when you are creating a policy or you are making a law, you are not making the law for itself. You are making the policy or the law to guide some individual or business or institution's action. You are creating that policy not as an end on its own, but it means to achieve an end. Now, within the value chain of that policy, there are people whose businesses will be impacted. There are individuals who have to change the way they do things. There are institutions that have to respond to that policy in order to make sure that your policy works. Now, if you create those policies without their input, you have started on a bad note, because you have created the policy over their head. And somebody once said, you cannot shave a man's head in his absence. So our our cry or our request is at the point of policy formulation, get the people that the policies we have, get them to be part of the formulation. If you get them to be part of the formulation, you have achieved one critical thing. They are buy-in in making sure that that policy in the context of implementation works and works very well. Then at the last point of evaluation, of let's see if this policy actually works. You also bring them in and you do the analysis together. What we've seen in the last administration is policy were created, a lot of fiscal and monetary policies that were created with good intention, but on the long run, those policies came out to actually disrupt the business environment. So bring them in at the point of formulation, at the point of implementation, and also at the point of appraisal or evaluation of those policies. Then we'll make more progress and we'll make faster progress.
Okay, in the course of the discussion, you mentioned that government should involve in all the stakeholders, not just a few. Which of these stakeholders that you mentioned do you think have been a little neglected in the past?
I think we are firm, and as a general consensus, the organized private sector is the engine of development, the engine of growth. And for every 10 jobs created, it has been also affirmed that the private sector creates at least 9 or 8 of those jobs. While there is a contention or controversy about whether government should be in business or whether government should focus on creating an environment that is hospitable for businesses to grow. Those contentions and those contradictions or those controversies remain. But our focus is organized businesses remain the engine of government. The informal sector also working with the private sector remains the engine of government. And if we want to grow, then we must focus strictly and principally on helping the organized private sector to grow. I think the organized private sector has not received the kind of attention that it should receive within the context of its potential to drag this country out of the quagmire that we currently find ourselves.
NECA Voice of Business is what you're listening to. It's reaching you live from Radio 1, 103 to 5 FM, the News Talk Sports Radio station. Right now we are looking at the socio-economic challenges faced by organized business sectors and what exactly are the expectations right now, which are the stakeholders should be involved, and so on. Now, moving on the show, don't forget that you can call in and let's talk on 0813 331 3172. 0813 331 3172. In the studio with me, I have Mr. Joalis Matoyimide. He's the Director General, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. What's NECA? That's us. He's our boss, so we are talking to him today. Now, we are talking stakeholders again. Stakeholders themselves right now, how involved are they pushing to be? Are they really pushing? Are they in the faces of government? Or what do you think, or how would you think they should come in? What are the new strategies do you think they should employ to ensure that their voices are heard during these decisions that are made?
We have various organs of the organized private sector, and we have various organs also at NECA, that's Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. And we are beyond formal and informal engagement that goes on a regular basis with principal agents of government, both at the ministry, both at the agencies level. I think we have a structure that engages. Now we have a structure that also advocates, and this engagement we're having is also one of those structures and one of those platforms we use. But we've been engaging consistently. We've been engaging through the media. We've been engaging at the back end of workshop, at the back end of correspondences to different stakeholders in government. So we have continued to engage. For the incoming government, I think we started engagement even before they came in, before the president was sworn in yesterday, and that engagement will continue. Our options of not engaging is almost tending to zero. So you can rest assured that we will continue to engage, we'll continue to make our views heard, we continue to constructively give feedbacks to areas where we feel the government is not doing well, the area where we feel they are probably derailing. We will continue to constructively engage and share our perspectives, and also come up with policy options that will help government to reapprise its own policy and reapprise its own direction, hoping that the government will listen to our suggestions and our policy options.
Can you give us one or two of the suggestions that you have in mind right now as a kind of advice for government to look into, or policies need to make, or should I even say stop?
You know, the president has mentioned the issue of the multiplicity of taxes. And one of the things we want him to look at immediately, we want him to take a critical look, is the fiscal policy measures that we have complained about the increase, the sudden, astronomical, and dangerous increase in excise duty, the newly introduced plastic tax. So many of those tax policies that tends to contradict itself, or tends to create a disruption in the existing framework that has been set up by the same government to drive those processes. We want the incoming government, the president, to actually take a critical look at that policy. If they cannot abandon it, if they cannot suspend it, then it takes cause. I think we should critically review that policy, because it has tendency to destroy that sector. Another one I wanted to quickly look at, he has mentioned the issue of fuel subsidy. Beyond the removal of fuel subsidy, I think it's also very important that we take a critical look at the consequential effects of the policy, the price shock that will probably...
Let me pause you a bit. Let's take this call. Hello? Okay, well, please go ahead. It was a dropped call. Please call us back. 0813-331-3172.
The price shock that will probably happen when the subsidy is removed. We also feel the government should come up with a definitive plan on how the subsidy should be removed. What happens after it has been removed? You know, the purchasing power of an average Nigerian is already rubbished, and we feel strongly that we should not create further shock or make an average Nigerian to suffer for the problem that they create. There's no reason why our refineries are not working. If the 4 refineries cannot work, can we quickly put 1, 2, or 3 of them into maximum use, while we also complement with the new Dangote refinery? If there are pressures on the citizens, what exactly are we going to do to mitigate those pressures? So beyond the issue of moving subsidy, then those frameworks, we also need government to put them in place and do one very important thing, that is citizens' consensus. Build consensus around citizens, around all these policies, because that is when we can achieve the maximum on this policy.
Hello, good morning. Yes, you are. What's your name and where you're calling us from? All right, Gabriel, go ahead. All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel, from Ikeja. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, thanks, Gabriel. Thanks for that very, very important comment. And it's part of the challenges we have, and part of the disconnect we have between government and the citizens. Part of the breakdown of trust that we have unconsciously created between the government and the citizens. One, we have definitely, you find some citizens, not too patriotic citizens, that want to take advantage of any policy that government will make pronunciation on. Now, the president has just made the pronunciation that fuel subsidy is gone, and we can see the reaction of some Nigerians, some businesses, already creating scarcity that shouldn't exist. basically because they want to benefit from or make gains from a situation that the country is trying to get out from. It's quite unfortunate, and we want the president, the administration, to take a critical look at those institutions that are driving or that are trying to create another kind of problem from ourselves. They said you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you do is to stop digging, and peradventure you have people around you that while you are trying to stop digging, if they are interested in dragging you further into the hole, then you deal with them, and you deal with them decisively. So all these are quite unacceptable. And one of the things we want to address, we want to urge the president to do is to start stakeholders and citizens consensus. We have to build consensus around all the policies that you want to come up with.
Get a lot of people to
get the citizens, let them understand this is why we want to do it, this is the reason why we are doing it. The more you build the consensus, the more you have people even helping you to promote, helping you to make sure that those policies work. At that point, it won't be the government policy, it will be our policy.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for calling.
yes, my own contribution, I've listened to this morning, and I only want to advise that NECA should continue to create more engaging ground in order to advise the government writing, because I believe that when they continue to engage I believe that at one point or the other, they listen and do the right, because this country is our country, and we need to get it right. And I believe that this is the right time for us to get it right. I want to thank NECA as a body for this enlightenment program. I'm a regular listener, and I'm able to pick one or two things from some of the guests that is bringing that sort of thing. I want them to continue to engage governments so that government can do the right thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Dapo, for calling in. Thank you. And thank you so much for being a seasoned listener, a regular listener to the show. So can you respond to, okay, how, before we'll run a little out of time, but quickly, first of all, are there institutions that can be placed in charge of ensuring this kind of artificial scarcity, or people taking undue advantage of situations like this? Are the institutions already on ground to nip this in the bud?
Well, the whole value chain of the oil sector. I think there are institutions, there are regulators, even the NNPC also plays some while it is now a private business, but it also plays some role because they still distribute and they are still one of the major importance of work.
Clamp down on those people that
they understand who have been supplied for. These things are not rocket science, as we've said a long time ago. They understand how many filling stations, how many tankers of fuel had been taken out of the depot. They understand which of the filling stations had received fuel. So if you received 2 tankers of fuel on Monday, it's probably impossible for you to have dispensed the whole 2 tankers in 24 hours. So if those filling stations are not selling, then why are they not selling? So we have to put in a mechanism to communicate explicitly to saboteurs that look, it is not business as usual.
All right. So another question that the Dapo mentioned. So what I want to ask you, how do you create this engaging? He said government in these businesses should continue to engage with government. How do you create engaging opportunities?
We within the context of our limitations, I said, it's not we don't have the whole leeway opportunity to engage 24/7, but we have created strategic structures that will help us to engage. I said one of these this engagement is one of those kind of engagement we have courtesy visit to those agencies, position paper that we've prepared that we're going to send to governments in engaging the 10th National Assembly, a position paper that we're going to send to the President, to the Minister of Finance when eventually is appointed. So we have those structures of communicating our policy options. Now, the government has made a general definitive statement. It would be unfair to start criticizing his statement. He has made a statement, he has shared his direction. Our first call is to support what he has said and to make ourselves, all of us, not only institutions like ours, but all Nigerians, to make ourselves available to say, look, how you are going to drive this, you have our support and you have our backing in achieving this laudable objective.
We really have to go. We've run out of time today. It's been an interesting one. We'll be talking about the need for stakeholders engagement and socio-economic challenges for businesses in Nigeria. And we'll be speaking with Mr. Adewale Smaltoyin, he's the Director General, Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, that's NECA. Thank you once again for joining the show this morning.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you so much, our listeners, for listening. Thank you for those that called in. NECA Voice of Business will be back at the same time next week for another edition of the show. If you have questions, you can always jot them down and we'll have your answers by next time we have the show. My name is Olawumi Akko. To have a pleasant Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Right now, we'll move over to the network studios for the network news.
Media will join with the other headlines. Newly sworn-in governors commit to delivering good governance. Expectations from the new administration in focus. UNICEF to provide 5 million Nigerians access to basic sanitation. Chief Raymond Dokwesi is dead. The commentary is on the cost of nation building by esteemed governors.